I'm here with James Thiel, who is the founder of Thiel Loudspeaker. James, hello.
Hello.
We're very happy to be here because you're introducing the new CS 3.7 loudspeakers. Maybe you can tell us a few things about the new loudspeaker and the new component you integrated in it.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, this is our new CS 3.7, and there are a lot of new aspects to the design in this model. And I guess the most important one has to do with the mid-range driver here. The mid-range driver uses a completely different geometry of diaphragm than a typical driver, and there are two benefits to it. The first benefit is that it is so strong and so rigid that it operates as a perfect piston up to 20,000 cycles. And this means that nowhere in the audible range is there any resonances of the diaphragm to ring or color the sound. So you get a particularly pure and sweet reproduction of the high frequencies. In addition, a second advantage of this diaphragm is that it's basically a flat shape, and the benefit there is that it does not alter the output of the tweeter that's mounted in its center as a normal conically shaped diaphragm would. There are also, the combined benefit here is that you get a much more pure, correct reproduction of the high frequencies. Probably the other most notable difference of this model with previous models is in the cabinet construction. The top of the cabinet here is made of formed aluminum that is extremely strong and virtually eliminates any unwanted vibration of the cabinet top. Also, the front baffle, where the drivers are mounted, is made of machined aluminum, and this material is so much harder and stronger than typical materials that it virtually eliminates any reaction motions of the diaphragm and preserves a lot of the musical subtleties that are otherwise normally lost. Also, the sides of the cabinets are formed of curved plywood, which again is much stronger than usual cabinet construction. So every facet of the cabinet is much stronger and more rigid and more inert sonically than a typical speaker cabinet. And this allows there to be more clarity of subtle detail.
I see here that you have the different speakers.
Yes, this is the Woofer, and the Woofer uses a very large magnet which powers our long gap short coil motor systems, which have only 1/10 the distortion of a usual type. The driver also uses a variation of the flat diaphragm that we use in the mid-range driver, and this diaphragm extends the bandwidth of the driver and eliminates the cavity that can cause some minor problems that exist in a normal woofer. We've already talked about the mid-range driver here, and it's powered with a neodymium magnet and a very large voice coil, and mounted in its center is the tweeter, which is newly developed for this model. This uses 65 grams of neodymium magnet. It powers. It has an X-max of about 5 millimeters, which is tremendous output capability for a tweeter. Very low distortion. So those are the highlights of the components.
Maybe we can talk now about the new baby behind you, the SCS4.
Yes, the SCS4 here is our new small shelf speaker. And it also uses a coincidentally mounted tweeter in the center of the woofer. And the benefit here is that the listener will then always hear the sound of the tweeter and the woofer at exactly the same time. So it provides perfect time coherence of the output of the two drivers. What's most notable about this model is that the front baffle is made of die-cast aluminum. And this part is, again, so rigid and so strong that it greatly enhances the clarity of the music reproduction.
Well, James, thank you for the interview, and we wish you a very good year in 2007.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your interest.